This is insane, dude. Scientists have trained 200,000 human brain cells grown on a microchip to play the original Doom. It seems like the type of thing that science fiction always taught us not to do. So before the Doom, their first work was teaching lab-grown neurons to play the classic 1972 game Pong. If you think about it, this is a crazy jump because they jumped from a 2D game to a 3D game with enemies spawning. They needed to connect two worlds and find the common language between Doom and neurons, which happened to be electricity. And they've managed to do that. They say if the neurons fire in a specific pattern, Doom guy shoots. If they fire in another pattern, he moves right, and so on. Now, all this already seem crazy, but this is not why I wanted to make this discussion video. The most interesting thing about this is that the researchers said that the cells are capable of learning and adapting. And even though the performance is limited right now, what this basically means is that in this example, when it first starts playing Doom, it plays like a noob. But more it plays the game, more it learns to play better. Now, why this is super interesting, it is living, it is biological, it can be taught on structured tasks and can learn in controllable environment. On the other note, I just thought about something. If this is living and biological, and they put it to play Doom forever, does it mean it's in eternal hell? Oh wow, this sounds bad. But like from the material I've read about this is that it can find a practical use in such thing as, for example, robotic arms, to relearn the pattern and become a better part of a body. One step closer to cyberpunk. And another thing is the environment it can be used in. Like studying a brain in simulation is one thing. You can put this whole thing, like we discussed the Eternal Doom, that it thinks that it lives in Doom and it basically learns in Doom environment. This thing can be put in other environments and learn from them. And I guess it's gonna be possible to study from that as well. This whole thing is so fascinating. I even wanted to study a little bit more on the topic, so I read a bunch of material. Of course, a lot of people in the comments joking about their enemies being neuron chips in games like Overwatch or something. But how I see it is like basic gaming development, you know? In 72, it was a 2D game, Ping Pong. Then I had to Google it, 3D Doom was out in 1993. However, in this case, scientists are learning much faster and the experiments are accelerating. At the same time, it kind of seems a little bit dangerous because what if you put these neurons in an environment where it can only learn things like finding enemies and shoot, like in Doom? Then this basically means that the only thing these neurons know is how to find enemies and shoot them. What if it somehow gets out, you know? Are we doomed? But yeah, this is really interesting stuff and I wanted to discuss it a little bit more than just in shorts. Let me know what you guys think where this whole thing is going. But yeah, I guess pretty soon it might be the case that we're reporting our enemies for being neuron chips instead of just cheaters. But let's see how it develops. See you in the next one.